try and get this camera. Okay, says you're live. So hopefully I'm live. We'll wait a minute, Jack, and we'll see who comes on. We'll try and spin this so that bright light isn't in everybody's face today. So we're just waiting and waiting. And hopefully, okay, hi. There you go, Jack. There is one person on today. H Mines, good morning. Yes, morning. And how I'm doing, Jack, at this time of the morning, and I know it's 10:30, but Jack seems to be exceptionally active, and I think that's because it is exceptionally warm up here. Even though it's quite still spring, unfortunately the weather has heated up, and my snakes know that that weather has got really hot. So I hope you can see, and I hope you can hear me. If anybody's having any issues with this live feed, as in buffering, could you let me know? I know my first live feed there was a fair amount of buffering, so if I get an idea that I might need to move my phone closer to my modem to get a better live feed, I'll be able to actually do that. So yes, I have Jack, who is my coastal carpet python, with me today. As I said, extremely active and trying to keep him here. I will move that camera on down so you might be able to see, here's quite a bit of snake to get in view of the actual camera as well, but I'll do my best and I'll try and keep him here as best as I can. I changed the view a little bit today, and I'd like to do that so you can see a little bit more of my snake room, but I have Lily, of course, behind me here, and she's quite happy up there in the corner of her enclosure. But I wanted to talk a little bit about people and their reasons for getting reptiles in general, not just snakes, but reptiles. And I know a lot of people do it because they do love them and are really interested in them, and really do want one in their life. But I also know there's that other side where it can be a bit of a fad, or it can be, it's really cool to actually own a snake and say, oh, I have a snake as a pet in my life, or not even necessarily term it as a pet, but I have a snake. And I really want to touch on the subject of important to remember that they're a long-term commitment. They are like any other animal that we have in our life, and I could bring up a dog and a cat, which probably these guys live a whole lot longer. So the commitment to them is a whole lot longer than you would to a lot of your cats and your dogs. And I don't think a lot of people really understand that, and just get a snake because they think that it is cool to actually have one. And so it is a in the moment, oh, my buddy's got a snake and I really want one, and then they find out very quickly that there's a whole lot more to them and caring for them than I think what they thought. So, that is pretty much what I wanted to talk about today, is that long-term commitment, that we need to go into it thinking that and knowing that when we actually get our snake. Now, Jack is 8 years old, so 8 years is a long time to be committed to any animal in your life, and taking really good care of them as well, not just bringing them up to sit in their enclosure, lay in their enclosure. I guess snakes don't sit, do they? But leaving them lay in their enclosure. So it is about, for me, and the way I care for them as well, is remembering I have to have that time for them, each and every one of them, and I have several. So am I getting to a point where I really have to stop and think about whether I get another snake? Do I have the time to have another snake? And if you've watched my videos, you'll know that I really am looking forward to having a rough scale, and I do have a rough scale on order. So that will bring me up to 8 snakes in my life. And I know that my time again is going to even be more limited in how long I can spend with each of my snakes. So I've got to try and be fair. Fortunately, right now I have little Apani, who is my patternless spotted python, who is not so demanding. She's a little girl. She's happy to come out a couple of times over the week and have some out time with me. Amaya, my albino Darwin carpet python. For how long do your snakes come out during the day? To be honest, Jack could be out all day from now until I need to actually leave the house. Jack will make his way around, have an explore, and then he'll wander on up to the hangout spot that I have set up, curl up and go to sleep. Or he might wander back over to his enclosure and decide he wants to go back home. So if I'm not going anywhere, I don't mind my snakes being out, and I might have Lily and Jack out at the same time. Each will find their own little spot and hang out and go to sleep. So, but I'm not physically handling them the whole time. I'm able to give them that room to actually move and exercise. So I'm not restraining them. I am, of course, because I want to keep Jack in view for you. But for as long as I'm able to allow them out, I will let them be out. And I know that isn't applicable for everybody. Lots of people work and their time is very limited. But just getting your snake out for 10 minutes and holding them is perfectly fine. It's better than them never ever coming out of their enclosure, apart from when you're cleaning it or rearranging something or doing something within their enclosure. And honestly, a lot of the time I do a lot of things while my snakes are actually in their enclosure. They're quite happy. And I'm even talking about, I have my drill, and I'm actually drilling in something, and Lily is sitting there just watching me like, what are you doing? She isn't trying to get away. She isn't trying to get out of the enclosure. She isn't curled up in the corner looking at me petrified. If she was, of course, I wouldn't do it. And the moment that I've actually finished doing something like that with her, she'll immediately go over there and see what I'm doing. And a lot of the time I turn around and she's literally there watching me. So I think they're just so used to me doing what I do with them that they know they're not in danger and that they're not going to be hurt. So the more that you spend time with your snake and the more you do with your snake, the more trusting they become with you, and they have nothing to fear. They have no reason to stress. And that is how I wanted my snakes to be with me. And I knew the only way to have that is to spend that time with them, and it pays off. I mean, currently love is in the air. Um, Males are looking for females, and certainly Jack is looking for Lily. And so he's a lot more active. Um, but I still wanted to, he's sort of going and wrapping around my leg there. But I knew also that, you know, he's okay to hang with me, and but he's a bit spoilt because he also knows that he can take off and go where he actually wants to go. So right now he's probably thinking, why are you holding me, and why can't I get away from you, and not get away from you but go where I would like to go. So it is commitment, and it's about the time that you have with them, and why I think I need myself to say that's enough. Um, that's Do you have any more time to spend with that extra snake or one more snake? They're so highly addictive to have in your life. I must admit, you get one and you love them and you enjoy having them. And I remember thinking to myself, life was pretty lonely. They would both say feed on the same day, so that would be that couple of days where they wouldn't be out, you wouldn't be handling them, or they didn't want to come out anyway because they've just fed. And I'd be sitting here thinking, okay. Or they'd go through the shedding process and not really be keen to come out and spend time with me. So a lot of people have that mind of to get another snake and another snake and another snake. So there's always snakes ready and willing that want to come out and spend time with you, and that's exactly how I feel with each of my snakes. I love them coming out and having time with me. It is my time and my personal time that I take, that I enjoy doing what I'm doing. Other people go and play sport. Other people, I'm probably getting a bit on in years to actually go and play sport, though handling these guys sometimes, I tell you, is a really good workout. But yeah, I really wanted people to consider them as a very long-term commitment, and that they aren't a passing fad because somebody else you know has one and says that they're really cool and why don't you go and get one. Um, there's so much more to it than just going and getting a snake. And you know, I've done a video that I have currently, that I will be putting up soon, for the beginner, because I forget after many years of having them, of how and what you will need. So I've done a very simplistic beginner um, video for people, just on the basics of what you need to go and get your first snake, or what you will need to have for your first snake. I take it for granted that I know, and I do it every day, and it's just there all the time. And I've kind of gotten lost in that within my videos, and so I stopped and thought, I will do a beginner video, and I will do more in-depth videos about getting a snake, especially your first snake. because the information that is out there is so varied and very confusing as well. And I even remember looking up bits and pieces in the beginning and thinking to myself, who is right and who is wrong? This person says this and another person says something else. And it is very hard. So as much as my beginner video isn't telling anybody this is how you must do it, I hope that in that video, they get a pretty good idea of the basic care of their snake. So, as you can see, Jack is just wanting to do the disappearing act on me and go and explore, and that's all over the place. Would be awesome. A cat specific video would be great too. There are ball python care vids out there, but not nearly as many on carpets. That is very true. I agree with you. But in that belief, taking care of a snake, when I say basics, what I'm talking about is the heat that they require, the enclosure that they need to live in, the very basics: heat, temperature gradients. Yeah, carpet pythons need a lot more climbing space than a ball python. People say, hi Munson Werner, people say that ball pythons don't like to climb. I don't agree with that. I think if they have the ability to, they will. Of course, we do know 100% that carpet pythons do love to climb. So there is a little bit of difference in, I'll try and get, Jack has actually wrapped his little tail around something, so I can't even move him. He's that strong. I mean, I've got his head, but I haven't got his tail. That's hooked. So yes, I will do, specifically based for carpet pythons. I don't have a ball python. I can't claim to know everything about ball pythons. Anyway, I mean, I do know a lot because of what I've read and people that I've got to know that do have them, and I do understand their care needs and so forth. But carpet pythons are definitely where I like to talk, what I like to talk about, because I have them in my life. So I'm going to finish off now, and I am going to do a live feed every Monday and every Friday for people. I just love the fact that I'm able to do it live and you're there live, and it's that interaction that I really enjoy. So I want to say thank you so much for joining me today and taking the time to do that. I know it's not always convenient for everybody, so but I try and work it for as many people as I possibly can. And I will put something within my videos to let people know that I will be doing these live videos and get more and more people to join in, because I think the more people that join in, the better. Because I think you guys have a lot to tell me and lots of things that you know that I can learn from as well, and what your experiences are. And they will be things that I will definitely be asking along the way. Hi Azzy, how you doing?